It's a new year, a new season, and we are underway.
Really dominating fashion here today is going to win.
4 for the final time.
Win number 1 on the season, only just barely.
He is going to win here at the Nazareth Speedway.
Wins the Emerson Electric 100K.
Gonna be Igor Barretto's gonna eke it out.
Cup Series champion is Shane Lake in the number 15.
Welcome to the NOFSRL.
The Turkey Hill National Series continues on, and so far, we've already raced at one track we've never been to. Well, we get to do it again as we come to the Rockingham Speedway in Rockingham, North Carolina. For the first time ever in the Turkey Hill National Series, this is the Food Lion 200 in season number 6. Hello everybody, this is Napa Fan here, and this is race number 7 in season 6 of the NOFSRL Turkey Hill National Series. We are here for the first time ever in this series at the Rockingham Speedway in Rockingham, North Carolina. Going to be 40 laps of action here in this Food Lion 200 around this 1.017 mile speedway, and it should be very interesting. And this place plays out similarly to Dover and these kind of high-speed mile-long racetracks where passing is a little bit difficult, but considering that these guys have a little bit less downforce than the Cup cars do, we may expect these guys to make some passes. It's going to be a slippery track. Join alongside Nathan Smith for the call of this one. How difficult will it be to make a pass for the race lead? And do you think the winner of this race is going to come maybe from the top 5 here today?
Well, based off the previous races in the season, I don't think the winner is going to come from the top 5. However, I think it'll be a bit harder to make a pass because the cars are a lot looser. So we're going to have the risk versus reward factor come into play.
We definitely will, and not only that, another factor that's going to come into play is tire wear, and we're going to see this tomorrow as well. This is one of the oldest surfaces we come to on the circuit, and even though on the track it may look like it's new and repaved, the tire fall off is almost 2.5 to 3 seconds at the end of a run, and that run's going to be about 25 to 27 laps here today, so that is really going to play into how easy it is to make a pass. If you want to make a move on somebody, you want to do it early on, because once those tires wear out, it gets very difficult to make a move here at this racetrack. One of the shorter races of the season as well, too. Only a 40-lap race, so there's not going to be much time to work your way from the back to the front here in this event. This other lineup in the point standings, Trey Bartow, the new points leader, 172 points towards the championship. 4 points behind him, it's Joshua Harrison, then Landon Smith Jr., 11 points behind. Mitchell Collins, 18 points behind, and then a tie for 5th in points between Will Parrish and Micah Knapp. They're both 20 points behind, coming into this, the 7th race of the season. And starting on the pole, it's number 79 of Julio Cesar, a veteran driver. He has run here before in the Cup Series, so he knows how to get it done. He's alongside Landon Smith Jr., who comes into this race 3rd in points, whereas his teammate leading the points coming to this event. And Bartow has actually won here a couple times before, so we'll have to see if Bartow gave any experience to Landon Smith Jr. to have him have a successful run in this race. Stephen Colon in the 80 to the inside of Christian Vargas. Vargas has had a lot of good runs in qualifying as of late. Las Vegas winner Joey Hightower alongside Braden Perez in number 24. Justin Zeidel and his teammate Scott Upton in row number 4. Then Audra Baranowskis alongside Dustin Davis in row number 5. It's the top 10 starting positions here. There's your points leader, Trey Bartow. On the inside lane there, about midway through the field. Go through the rest of the field here. And Nathan, who do you think is going to get the race victory here today in this Food Lion 200 in the Turkey Hill National Series?
Well, strategy is definitely going to come into play, so I'm going to go with someone in the middle of the field, possibly the 31 of, oh, never mind, there is no 31. But there it is, the 67.
Oh, Micah Knapp there,
Micah
67,
Knapp.
yes.
Yeah.
And he's been doing good this season, too, and will not be surprised if he gets the race victory. Hey, Trey Bartow's right behind him. Bartow's won twice here in the trucks before. Watch out for him as well. Green flag in the air here in the Food Lion 200 at the Rockingham Speedway. We're underway at the Rock. Oh, and already somebody around in the back. That's Aiden McCrow in the 28 machine, and Will Parrish caught up as well in the 23. And And damage on the 21 of Luke Rainey as well, and that is not at all how these guys wanted to start this event off, but right at the top of the show, a yellow flag here in this Food Lion 200.
That's not a good way to start off your race here. Fortunate for those guys, basically taking out of contention so early.
Yeah, they did start in the back of the field for this race, so they had a long way to go. Now, this is going to be interesting here. I don't think anyone's going to come down the pit lane because the fuel window is not open yet. We just started this race. But odds are somebody overshot the exit of turn 2, came down, and got into some other guys. It looks like only 3 guys were involved. Luke Rainey, Aiden McCrow, and Will Parrish. That's a tough break for Will Parrish, who came into this race 5th in points. You see he's got a little bit of left side damage to his machine, but either way, a quick yellow here in the Food Lion 200. We'll go ahead and see what happened to bring out the first caution of the day here in the 7th race of the season in Season 6 of the NOFSRL Turkey Hill National Series. Well, only on the first lap of this event, Will Parrish in the number 23 gets up in, I mean, there aren't any marbles up there yet, but theoretically gets up in the marbles, loses it, hits the outside wall, comes down, and Noah Clifton is there in the 46, and then Clifton comes down to clip McCrow. Daniel Bouchard is there, and it's a very weird place when it comes to wrecks down the backstretch here. Comes up, that's where Luke Rainey gets his damage. Bouchard gets a piece of this one in the 7 machine, and then Nichols pops McCrow, and then Parrish comes down, hits the inside wall, comes back up, and is going to give Nichols a shot in the 37. And Ben Grorich in the 36 was behind all that and avoided any contact, I believe. Relatively minor accident. We've seen flips here before. Heck, if you remember Season 6 of the Cup Series, remember the when Al Agassi hit the safer barrier on the outside wall entering turn number 3? Thankfully, we didn't have that happen in this one. Still, tough break for those guys. Everyone's still going to be able to continue in this race, but none of these guys are going to be contending for the race win after the damage they accumulated after this one here at Rockingham.
Just Will Parrish gets a little too high coming off the corner, and there into the wall down the track. Noah Clifton, Aiden McCrow, hard into the outside wall. Just back up into the track. Very unfortunate for all these guys to be taken out of contention so early in the race.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if they affect anybody coming in or going down the line in this race, because that damage could affect some guys. It's a small racetrack, and and if they end up slowing down enough, they could end up getting lapped here very quickly. Well, we only got 1 lap in, and the pole sitter Julio Cesar was able to keep the lead. We'll have to see what he can do to hold it here in the Food Lion 200 at the Rockingham Speedway in the Turkey Hill National Series Season number 6. Let's get back to racing here at Rockingham. And we are back here at the Rockingham Speedway. An early caution here involving a couple of guys in the back of the field there, but nobody going to be knocked out of the race. Will Parrish, Aiden McCrow, and Luke Rainey. So, essentially, we're just starting the race at this point, but only with a single file start instead of a double file. So hopefully we'll be able to run these last 35 laps without any issue here in this one. Julio Cesar still the race leader. Stephen Colon, Joey Hightower, Landon Smith Jr., and Justin Zidell, the top 5, with Baranowskis, Vargas, BB Ruiz, Rain Perez, and Mitchell Collins. The top 10, going to be 35 laps to go when we cross the line this time here in the Food Lion 200. At the Rockingham Speedway. Pace car is down, and we're back underway officially this time. Hopefully we'll get a full lap in here in this one. Stephen Colon right on the back bumper of Julio Cesar right here. Colon's had a pretty solid season so far, comes into this race 12th in points, and not have a good run last week at Atlanta, but he wants to make up for that to the inside of Julio Cesar for the race lead here at Rockingham.
Stephen Colon will take the race lead. He will lead that lap. However, he's got the 51 of Landon Smith Jr. right behind him. Julio Cesar stuck on the outside. Not good for him, and there's the 8 of Justin Zidell trying to go for 3rd.
Zidell having a great run here. He's had a tough start to this season, but he had a very solid run in Atlanta last week and is looking to rebound, get another top 10 run here in the Turkey Hill National Series. He's going to go for 2nd on Landon Smith Jr. right there as Julio Cesar falls back a little bit. He's stuck in this outside lane here. Vargas moving to the inside of him. Here comes BB Ruiz in the 98 as well. And don't look now, I would really watch out for Trey Bartow. He kind of came out of nowhere at Atlanta last week and ran well there. He's now the new points leader, and like I said, he's won twice before in the Turkey Hill Truck Series at this racetrack, so he knows how to get it done, and he's on the verge here of entering the top 10 here in a moment. Will Parrish down the pit lane, obviously was involved in that accident earlier on, so he'll be the first guy to go a lap down here in this Food Lion 200. Stephen Colon, though, holding on to the race lead with Justin Zidell's Hightower taps the outside wall in the back, and a battle for second. There goes Landon Smith Jr. to the inside of Justin Zidell.
Jr. on the inside, and he's going to clear Zidell, and he has gotten to second here on we start lap 10 at Rockingham in the Food Lion 200.
Landon Smith Jr. trying to close in to Stephen Colon, but Colon's liking what he's seen in his rearview mirror. Those guys continuing to battle on for the second position. Here comes Christian Vargas. I know Matt's picked this guy a couple of times. In the past 2 races he's been in the booth with me, he's picked Vargas to win. Well, Vargas having a great run here today, and Vargas a veteran to this series. He knows how to get it done. Been around for quite some time. As a matter of fact, all these guys up front, Stephen Colon's the least experienced guy, but even he has a little bit of experience on Napa Fam. Landon Smith Jr., Justin Zidell, Christian Vargas, they've all run a full season in this series, and Landon Smith Jr. closing in tremendously there on Stephen Colon here. And like I said at the top of the show, you want to make your move now when you can, when these tires are still fresh, because once we get about 15 to 18 laps into this run, those tires are going to go downhill fast. And it's going to be very difficult to make a move on the guy ahead of you with those worn tires, and we might be starting to see that now. Stephen Colon able to hold the outside there on Landon Smith Jr. as he holds onto the race lead. We got Justin Zidell here in the number 8 machine. Christian Vargas, BB Ruiz, Mitchell Collins with a great run. Collins coming into this race 4th in points. He actually was the points leader heading into Atlanta, but we all know what happened to him in that one. Blew a tire and ended up getting ran into in that event. But he comes 18 points behind, and our points leader now inside the top 10 in Trey Bartow on the 54. Now, when we get to that cycle of pit stops, those guys who come down early, they're going to be at the advantage once the cycle ends. And that's really going to be interesting to see who pulls some strategy, maybe undercuts a little bit, because this is a place where you want to undercut because of the tire wear.
Battle the sports drinks for the lead right now, but looking to be interrupted by Justin Zidell, who gets to the inside of Landon Smith Jr. going into turn 1. And I think he's going to have the run down the backstretch to clear that 51 car. And then he's just got to face down Stephen Colon. They're still side by side going into 3, and now Zidell is clear.
Ooh, not quite, though. Landon Smith Jr. with a good run up top in the 51. And now Vargas has joined this battle with BB Ruiz as well, and that is going to really benefit Stephen Colon in the 80 machine, but Zidell will officially clear the 51 machine. So he's back to the inside. Zidell, Clifton, and Williamson, the only 3 drivers in this series who are official listed team owners. Bartow also a team owner in the Cup Series, so not as many as we normally have. So they're not really development drivers. This is pretty much as high as they go, and they're doing a good job here today, especially Justin Zidell there in that number 8 machine, as he has gotten around Landon Smith Jr. for the 2nd position. Now Vargas to the inside for 3rd, and Collins right behind him. Colin Teagan the outside wall back in there as we go through the field, see where everybody is. There's Marty Johnson in the 53, won the first race of the season. Our last winner was Priya McShane. She's not having the best of runs here today. She's about midway through the field in that number 77 machine. As we go through the rest of the field here, so many guys all throughout this field, and we have guys who actually have some damage. Luke Rennie caught up in that accident, still running with these guys in the number 21 machine. Pretty solid run for him. And I think Landon Smith Jr. might have a problem. He may have slammed the outside wall possibly, but he just lost a ton of ground right there as he got stuck in the outside lane, and now his teammate, Trey Bartow, to the inside of him for position.
Yeah, Trey Bartow now passing in. And my pick, Micah Knapp's inside the top 10. But up front, it was Justin Zidell chasing down Stephen Colon. We're actually nearing the pit window, less than 10 laps until it opens. We're getting close to that strategy called when do you pit. So drivers have got to be thinking about that right now.
Yeah, absolutely. This has a green flag look to it at this point, so odds are these guys, we did have a few caution laps there, but odds are these guys are still going to be coming around that lap 25 window. I mean, essentially, and it's tough because if you split it near the end of the run, you're going to be behind on people. So if you come down, say, like lap 22, sure, you're going to be able to make it on fuel, but once you get to the end of the cycle there, 18 laps to go, those tires fall off tremendously, and those guys who came in a little bit later are now going to have the advantage on you. So it's going to be interesting to see if anyone plays some strategy here soon. I definitely would imagine the guys who come down earlier are going to have the advantage. But just depends on how long of a run we're going to have after the cycle of pit stops to determine, I should say, how well those guys do at the end of the race. But one guy's been doing a great job. Stephen Colon going for his first career Napa fan win, I do believe. And like I said, he's had a very strong season so far. Didn't have a good run last week at Atlanta, but outside of that, he's been running up front in a lot of these races for NS Racing. Of course, NS Racing has already won this season with Noah Clifton at Willow Springs. They'd love to do so again here with Stephen Colon in the 80 machine. Halfway through the Food Lion 200, and he's got Justin Zidell behind him. Zidell, a very experienced driver, would not be surprised if he pulls some strategy to get around this 80 machine later on in the race.
Yeah, like I said at the beginning, strategy is going to come into play here. When do you pit, when do you not? Going through the field right now. And
looks like someone may have fallen off. It may have been Julio Caesar in the 79. Got stuck in the outside lane because all of a sudden Mitchell Collins was up there in third, and then Caesar's really losing time now in that 79 machine. Not entirely sure what happened to him there. Landon Smith Jr. still on this outside lane. He's losing a bit of ground as well. So those were a couple of guys who were running up front earlier on who have fallen off the pack. Meanwhile, Zidell is hanging right with this 80 machine, and now Braden Perez is up to third. The great run for Perez in the number 24 machine. And then you got Collins and Vargas who are going to have good opportunities at this race victory if they come down at the perfect time. But Stephen Colon, if you're the race leader, you want to be the first guy coming down. But the only downside to that is if a caution comes out during that cycle, you might get caught a lap down. And that's where it gets very interesting, because if you're the race leader and everything stays green throughout the cycle, you have to be one of those first guys that comes down. But if you are the race leader, you come down and a caution comes out, your chances of winning the race are done. Zidell is going to come down first. And this is going to be a perfect strategy to defeat Stephen Colon in this race. Zidell's going to have these fresh tires, and he's going to gain a huge advantage on the 80 machine if this race stays green. Hopefully it will, but he's the only one coming down the pit lane, and he was second at the time, so watch out for Zidell later on once this cycle ends.
Stephen Colon, now you got to be thinking, when does he pit? Could be this lap.
Yeah, he can't stay out another lap.
Yeah, he's coming.
There's no way he's going to be able to stay out another lap, but some guys are going to try to stretch it here just in case something happens. But you can tell these guys are very slow off the corner. If you watch the first lap of the race and compare it to now, you can notice the difference. Like I said, it's about an almost 3-second difference at the end of a run for these guys. And this is only a mile-long racetrack, so tire wear is significant here. There's Stephen Colon in the 80 machine. There's Zidell coming off the pit lane here. And he's going to have a full head of steam coming around to beat this 80 off. Baranowskis may have also come down with Zidell as well, so we'll have to see what she can gain from all this. But we're going to follow with Colon here in the 80 machine. I believe in the back of the field we got the rest of the guys coming down. I don't think anybody else can stay out any longer. There's Zidell in the 8. He's entering turn number 1 right now, and these guys are coming off the pit lane here. That is Stephen Colon in the 80, and there goes Zidell to the outside of Stephen Colon. He'll jump the 80 machine, but this race is not over yet. Stephen Colon isn't going to lose too much time to him, but you got to think Colon's got to be hitting himself for not coming down the same time as Zidell.
Yeah, Colon's definitely beating himself up over that strategy call, but when this cycles through, Justin Zidell will be the leader, and down the backstretch they go.
Stephen Colon is now only a second behind him at this point, so this is going to be interesting. It should cycle through this time around. Braden Perez led a lap right there. It's a bonus point for Perez in the championship run. But the cycle should be complete at this point. At the stripe, Justin Zidell, the race leader. Stephen Colon 1.38 seconds behind. So we'll have to see if Colon can have enough on Zidell. We still have 13 laps left in this race. Mitchell Collins, Braden Perez. How about Marty Johnson up here in the 53 machine? For the longest time in this race, he was the third running driver in the Velocitar stable. Well, now he's the highest running Velocitar driver in this event. Christian Vargas there in 5th, and yet Dustin Davis, Baby Ruiz, Aiden McCrow. Josh Williamson inside the top 10. It has not been a good season for Williamson, but he's now inside the top 10 machine. And Will Parrish is out here slowing guys down because he has not come down the pit lane yet for his, what would be, second stop of the race. He had already come down the pit lane earlier on to fix an issue. Guys like Landon Smith Jr., Trey Bartow have fallen back quite a bit. That's a tough break for Bartow, and Bartow's actually coming back down the... no, he's on the apron for some reason. But that 54 has a problem. Renan Esip's down the pit lane in the 52, so Esip has a problem. But one guy who does not have a problem is Justin Zeidel. He's pulling away right now from Stephen Colon here in this Food Lion 210 laps down at the Rockingham Speedway in the Turkey Hill National Series.
Zeidel just out on a Sunday drive right now, and there's a potential car to get in the way. Don't think it will be an issue, but you never know. The 10 of Dennis Stryker. Zeidel is going to lead yet another lap after getting the lead on the pit cycle.
So we have ourselves 4 guys who are at least a lap down. Aiden McCrow, who was caught up in that accident on lap 1. Will Parrish as well. Mike and Apps 3 laps down. Not entirely sure what happened to the 67 machine. And he's got a problem. And then the 52 machine of Renan Esip, we saw him down the pit lane not too long ago. And these guys, got to be careful around Will Parrish here. I mean, you can notice, you can see the difference. These guys on fresh tires and Will Parrish on worn tires, and these guys are just whipping right around him. And now Mike Knappen, the 67, who's come off the pit lane to fix an apparent issue on that machine. Gonna merge back on with the rest of the field. But in the meantime, Justin Zeidel is pulling away from Stephen Colon. So the only thing at this point that I think is going to give Colon any opportunity at winning this race is if a caution comes out. And Zeidel does not want to see that yellow coming out because he has done everything perfectly in this race to get this race victory. And I'm sure he wants everything to fall in his favor for his first win of the season. He started off terribly. He comes into this race 38th in points. Got his first top 5 last week at Atlanta. And now here he is, on the verge of his first win of the season here in the Turkey Hill National Series season number 6. Will Parrish finally coming down the pit lane. So about time that happened in the back of the field, but he'd probably been passed by everyone at that point anyway. 6 to go here in the Food Lion 200 for Justin Zeidel at Rockingham.
Yeah, Justin Zeidel just cruising. He's gapping Stephen Colon, and I don't think Dennis Stryker is going to be a factor in this end of the race.
It doesn't look like he will be. He is running just about as fast as everybody else at this point, so it's not like he has an issue. Ooh. Colon closed in by quite a bit right there. There's only 5 laps left to go. But that was about a 0.3 of a second gain right there. And, you know, these tires, they all of a sudden drop off. Zeidel came down a lap before Colon. So Colon might have those fresher tires for just a little bit longer than Zeidel. We'll have to see what the margin is this time around with 4 laps to go. Point of no return here in this Food Lion 200. And he gained a 100th of a second. So doesn't look like he's going to gain any more at this point. How about this for Justin Zeidel? Veteran driver here in the Turkey Hill National Series. He owns a team. As a matter of fact, he won this race as an owner last year in the NOFSRL Cup Series with Andrew Miller. Maybe he'll go back to victory lane again tomorrow. But Fisher G, his driver in the Cup Series, the owner of this team, looking for his first win as an owner. Actually, sorry, I'm wrong. His second win as an owner this season. Joey Hightower won at Las Vegas, so this will be the first team this season in the Turkey Hill National Series to win 2 races. We'll have to see if Zeidel can pull it off here. It's 2.5 laps to go at the Rock. 2 to go next time by for Justin Zeidel.
Justin Zeidel absolutely commanding lead since he got the lead on the pit stops. And great to see a veteran driver potentially get their first win as like you said, 2 laps to go this time by as Braden Perez makes a pass for 3rd on Mitchell Collins.
A good move there for Perez there in the 24 machine. As we're coming to the white flag here in the Food Lion 200, Justin Zeidel holding on to the race lead ahead of Stephen Colon. White flag in the air for the veteran driver, and Colon is closing in, but he's not going to have enough time here as this is the final lap of the race, so only unless something happens to Zeidel, this win's going to go to Fisher G Racing and the Zeidel Motorsports owner in the NOFSRL Cup Series. It was a really tough season to start off, but Zeidel is going to get back on the right foot. Justin Zeidel comes out at turn number 4 to win the Food Lion 200 here at the Rockingham Speedway. Stephen Colon will finish 2nd. Braden Perez, Marty Johnson in 4th, and Christian Vargas rounding out the top 5 here at the Rockingham Speedway in North Carolina. Justin Zeidel pulls it off here in this Food Lion 200. Great drive and it came down to him coming down the pit lane a lap before the race leader. That is all it took to win this race. And Nathan, you're in this race tomorrow. You're in the Cup race tomorrow. It's going to be a very similar situation with the pit cycle there. I'm sure you're going to be one of those guys who wants to come down before anybody else in tomorrow's race.
That is true. I'm going to hope we can get the strategy right tomorrow in the race and hopefully come away with the victory.
We'll have to see how it all goes down tomorrow, the Cheer Y 400, but take a look at the rest of the results in this race. Oh, man, Josh Williamson was running up front inside the top 10 and ended up having a gearbox issue. He didn't catch it when it happened, but such a heartbreak there for the Otter Island Motorsports driver of Josh Williamson. And his tough season continues there, the number 75 camp. And you see everyone else who had issues. Micah Knapp had an issue. Renan Easip had an issue. Will Parrish was caught up in that accident, so he had his issues from that. Aiden McCrow as well. Luke Rainey was caught up in the accident and actually had the most damage from the accident and ended up finishing 27th out of all that. But Mitchell Collins also had an issue at the end there as well. He was running inside the top 5. He ended up finishing a lap down. So a lot ended up happening at the end there that we didn't see. A lot of guys kind of dropping like flies at the back of the field. Don't know exactly what happened, but at the end of the day, it's Justice Idell going to victory lane here in the Turkey Hill National Series at Rockingham. And tomorrow at noon Eastern Time, the Cheer Y 400 in the NOFSRL Cup Series. Should be a good one for 79 laps here around this mile-long racetrack in Rockingham, North Carolina. Next week in the Turkey Hill National Series, we head to the Armory Digital Super Speedway for the Easter weekend extravaganza. As we always do, the Armory Digital 250 around that 2.6 mile long Super Speedway. Should be a fun one. The only race next weekend here on AG Racing, Turkey Hill National Series. And then 2 weeks from now, the Cup Series returns to Richmond, I do believe. And Turkey Hill National Series is going to be joining them as well for that. No, sorry, Martinsville. Turkey Hill National Series off 2 weeks from now because we go to Martinsville. And, yeah, you guys will know what it'll be once it comes around. Thank you guys so much for watching. Congratulations to Justin Idell for winning here at the Rockingham Speedway. And thanks to Nathan Smith for calling the race with me. And we'll see you guys tomorrow for the Cheer Y 400 in the NOFSRL Cup Series. Here are the points for the Turkey Hill National Series after 7 races. And I will see you guys later.